You're listening to Last Word Radio, where you get the last word.
Welcome to the Fourth Line Podcast, part of the Alberta Podcast Network, powered by ATB. This is March the 5th, 2018. With you today is myself, Carl, and the always wonderful Joel. Welcome to the show, Joel.
Oh, thank you. First time, long time.
It's nice to finally have you here.
I know, it's been a while. I've called in many times.
We tried to not take your call, but you accidentally got through today.
I got through today, and it's... Okay. I have the Leafs game on right now.
Yep.
Freddie Anderson just got beat terribly by a puck. And the puck was going into the net, and he just literally just flung his stick at it and knocked it out of the net.
Wow.
I don't know how that didn't go in.
That's impressive.
So, anyways, that's...
Is it legal? Because, you can't throw your stick.
He was still holding it.
Oh, okay.
But, it was... I don't know. That was amazing. He doesn't usually make saves like that. What goalie makes the most, because it was Hasek for the longest time. He just, made the most, ridiculous saves.
Yeah.
And you're just like, how did he make that? What goalie is that now?
Right now, I want to say, Vasilevsky's made a couple. He's made two in the last month of this save where Joel can see me on the video, so it's easy to describe. But he reaches behind his back and makes a save over this.
Right. I'm surprised that you attempted to do that because I don't have my shoulder will dislocate if I did that.
It's he's rubbing the elbow on his other arm. But he's made two of those saves recently, which is impressive.
So you think it's him just because of those two saves?
That's the first one that comes to mind. I don't know, the other one that came to mind, and I can't think of a particular moment. But my first thought was Pekka Rinne, but then my thought from that after went to Marc-Andre Fleury, just because he's got a little flair for the dramatic. So those are my two thoughts, but I don't have evidence for the other two to be that's just the feel that I have. I don't know. Maybe you got a better idea.
I have no idea. I don't it. I think the easy thing to say right now is Vasilevsky, just because of those two saves, but I don't know if it's actually him or not.
His sample size is so small, so small. It's essentially a season that we don't really know what he is for a long-term thing.
I hate TSN right now. They're refusing to show the highlight of this save.
Yeah, I turned it on immediately to watch it, and I saw someone hit the crossbar instead.
Oh, it wasn't as good. It totally looks because they didn't show the replay of it, and there's tons of GIFs online, and it's so quick, so it looked like he saved it, but he didn't. It hit the crossbar.
Okay, so the one where I saw them hit a crossbar, that was
the one, but it in live motion.
Oh yeah, that view from behind the net looks like it. Yeah, I get it.
And so that was just crazy, but I don't know who that is. Was Mike Smith like that at one point? I feel like he was kind of like a guy like that just made saves that he had no business making.
Yeah.
Well, I think he always makes saves that he has no business making.
Yeah, 80% of the saves Mike Smith makes are saves he has no business making. I think the part of it is that goalies have had that coached out of them, though. That's just not a thing that they do because they are so much of playing the percentages, which is good. That's what you should do. But that leaves you in position so you don't have to make a crazy save. Earlier this year, Jonathan Bernier kept making these crazy saves. I'm he shouldn't have had to make a crazy diving save. If he had just been in position properly, it's a normal save.
See, I thought you were going to say Jonathan Bernier was making these crazy saves that he had no business making, and it was just half slappers from the point with no pride. You're just
just a soft wrister from half.
Yeah. So, like, yeah, it's interesting. Like, we don't have any, like, real, like, unconventional goalies right now. Do we have any, like, unconventional players that are just, like, I don't know. It's usually, like, whenever you have that conversation of, like, why is this guy so good? He shouldn't be that good. It's usually just because he's small. That's usually what it comes down to. It's like the Martin St. Louis of the world. You're just like, why is this guy so good? And then you just look at it, you're just like, oh, he's just a small person. It's not that he's actually not good.
Yeah, I think because you have some of those things. There's guys who have unconventional parts of their game, and I think that's when, like, there's a fair amount, and we'll stick with your Leafs for a second, but, like, and it's nothing that people at this point knowable, but, like, the way and the speed and the angles that Austin Matthews gets his shots off from is unexpected, right? And that's what's good about him, is all of a sudden he's skating down, you're like, you just put it on net from, like, this weird, like, super close angle that the goalie's not expecting, right? It's like, that's unconventional, but it's not like an impressive unconventional that you'd be like, man, did you see that guy do that thing?
Well,
like, the average person's gonna miss things like that.
And it's unconventional in the way that you're okay with it. Like, it's not like it's hurting anybody by that play style. Like Hasek, you would never want someone to be like Dominik Hasek because you can't coach that. And if you start to coach that, you're just going to be really bad. And you're going to
if you taught every goalie in your system to play like Dominik Hasek, you'd be fired immediately.
Yeah, so
that's why he's not a goalie coach. He's off getting in roller derby fights in the Czech Republic.
Oh, Dominik Hasek. Yeah, I'm trying to like the only one that I can really think of is, like, and again, it's just like it comes down to his size, is Dustin Byfuglien. You're just like, because, like, every now and then he makes a play and you're just like, no guy that size should be able to do that. And then, but it's not his style of play. It's just his size. I don't know.
Yeah.
My guess is well, I don't know if this is actually happening. I'm wondering if there's, like, a few listeners that are just, like, screaming at us right now. Like, we're missing the most obvious, like, unconventional player who's really good and shouldn't be good. I just can't think of it. But
yeah. If you're screaming at your iPod, your Zune, your radio in your car, let us know. Let us know who we missed.
Well, it's definitely a Zune, because that would be unconventional, right?
Exactly, yeah. They know unconventional. They're listening on their Zune, and they're going to tweet at us from their BlackBerry on what we got wrong.
I had a BlackBerry once.
Yeah, that was my first smartphone, was a BlackBerry, and then we had the same one.
Did we?
And then I got rid of it.
I actually liked it. I didn't hate it.
It fell apart like every smartphone. They die, like, they are good, and then they fall off a cliff. The cliff that the BlackBerry fell off of was much more disastrous than anything else.
That's fair. So, what happened in the world of hockey, Carl, this week?
Like, everyone got injured.
Right.
That happened. Because we recorded on Monday. Was that before? I think it was during. Was it during the game or right after the Patrice Bergeron injury? When did that happen?
So he got injured on Saturday, the Saturday game, but then he played Sunday.
Right, against the Buffaloes.
Yeah, which was a terrible decision.
Yeah, because now he's not playing.
And apparently we just ignored talking about it on Monday.
Yes.
Because I don't really remember talking about it.
I think it was mentioned. I think so. But again, he'd played, and so we kind of assumed, well, he's playing, is probably fine. Now it's not fine. Patrice Bergeron he's out for at least 2 weeks, and then they'll reevaluate, which seems like with a broken foot. So maybe x-ray that after Saturday's game and don't let your best player play on a broken foot. That might be a good idea, Boston.
Apparently it didn't make it worse. That's what they say. I don't believe them, though.
I don't think it made it better. I'm fairly certain if playing on a broken foot made it better, he would still be playing on a broken foot.
I heard something, like, I thought it was, like, do you believe that he would be playing if this was the playoffs?
I think so, yeah. I think I said that. I said that to someone this week. If this is the Patrice Bergeron who like played with every internal organ injured in some way a couple years ago in the playoffs.
Right.
Like he would be playing if this was a playoffs game. But you'd rather him fix it and be healthy. Well, shoot, what was it? Last year, Erik Karlsson played with a broken foot for most of the playoffs. Like that's a thing that you can do. I am much less tough than the stereotype of that would be my unconventional thing as an NHL player. I'd be like, I'm banged up today, guys.
Yeah. And then his buddy got hurt.
Charles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With a slash. That was less... It was more obvious. Less subtle.
For sure. So yeah, the Bruins, whatever. They'll be fine. They've been good this year. After this is what's interesting. I'll talk about that in a second. The Bruins will be fine. You got to let these guys heal, give them the time, and then McAvoy, Bergeron. If they're gone by the playoffs still, then you start to worry. But we've still got a month and a half for these guys to get healthy. It's fine.
Is Brendan Gallagher just quietly a dirty I feel like he's a dirty player, or is he just an annoying player?
I think both. I feel like when the Habs traded for Andrew Shaw, I was like, oh man, this guy's going to be just the biggest dirtbag on this team. And he's been overshadowed by Brendan Gallagher, who left at the perfect time.
Sorry.
No, it's all good. Those things happen. I get it.
Okay.
Matt is now sad because he couldn't make it. He's now sad that he got into quite the fisticuffs in his rec league game, and he wanted to tell that story on the show.
Oh, well, is he busy all night?
He's busy till 10 o'clock his time.
Oh, well, it's 11 here. Let's do this.
All right, here we go. Well, Joel, before we get into the rest of the show, let's remind everyone about the fine folks at ATB. They sponsor the Alberta Podcast Network and support this show. I was driving around in Calgary this week, and I found something called the ATB Entrepreneur Center.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah, I hadn't either. But that's a great reminder so we've talked a lot on the show about how ATB can help you. One way that they can help you is if you're an entrepreneur. So head over to atb.com/listens if you are an entrepreneur. I think every time I've said that word during this ad read, I've said it differently. So if you are someone who owns your own business, you can go over there, atb.com/listens, let them know that you have that and you want to figure out how they can help you. So do that. It's smart. Joel, one other thing that happened this week, we talked about the injuries that happened. Seattle is one step closer to getting a hockey team, an NHL team of their very own, filling the order for season tickets shockingly quick.
Yeah. So this is just this is a foregone conclusion now, right?
At this
we
point,
know.
They've got money now. They've got people who said, we're going to support you financially.
And did you see how they said that their rules are going to be exactly the same for the expansion?
Yeah, but I think everyone. So now that just means that no one is getting, unless you're the best of the best, do you get a no trade clause? That's just not happening now between now and then, because you don't want a no trade or a no movement clause, and all of a sudden you're stuck with some schmuck.
Because we've got at least 2 years before this expansion draft, right?
Yeah, it's not going to be this year. It might be next year, but probably at the latest we're looking at, 2020?
Would be the latest or the earliest?
I'm thinking 2019. 2019 is the earliest, because they're what? They're retrofitting the old basketball arena there.
Right.
I don't know how long that takes, but there's not really anywhere else they could play where the Thunderbirds play, but that's probably not the best of. That's not ideal. That's not going to make you the money you need. So yeah, they need to do that. So yeah, 2020 probably is when we're looking at.
So I'm on a website called NHL2Seattle.com.
Sounds official.
They have something called Calendar. So I went to that clicking, expecting to be like a projected like schedule of when things were to come out.
Yeah.
No, it just looks like a WordPress calendar that has it's just like March 2018. There's nothing in it. So I don't know what to make of that.
Yeah, so they're not coming in March 2018 is what we know then.
Yes, that's about it.
There you go. If you go to another site, NHL without two, NHLSeattle.com, they also don't tell you when the team's actually going to show up. They just tell you how to sign up for the wait list. They just tell you how they're going to take your money, but not when you actually get to use the seats you've paid for.
So, yeah. Anyways, yeah. Can we step back to injuries quickly?
Please, yeah.
Jay Bouwmeester gone for the season.
It's that kind of a season for the Blues. You trade away Paul Stastny, you can be quite content to shut Jay Bouwmeester down for the rest of the year.
So are you like they're just like we're not making the playoffs for sure now?
Yeah, you can kind of because I think Scotty Upshall, he's a much smaller part of that team, but he's also going to be gone likely the rest of the season. So that's two guys today that they've said, and yeah, you kind of saw the writing on the wall. I saw actually in his 31 Thoughts, Elliot Friedman mentioned last week that he understood that the Blues were trying to actually flip that first round pick that they got for Paul Stastny for another center, one that has term for next year. But we saw the cost of trading for guys with term, so I think it just became that. So yeah, the Blues mail it in season. That's fine. So
sorry, I remembered that had happened, and then wasn't sure if that was a thing or not. But anyways, I don't know. Is there anything else to talk about Seattle? I just kind of like hijacked the conversation.
I think we're it'll be nice to have a team in that part of the country. There's not really one close. Like Vancouver is close, but you have to go through that border hassle, and I assume not many people bother to do that because it's what, 3 hours, 2 hours?
3 hours, 2.5 without the border.
Yeah. So yeah, let's say 3 hours. That's a bit of ways. I'm not driving from Calgary to Edmonton for a game. That's for sure.
Yeah, definitely not to watch the Oilers.
No, most certainly not. So Gary Bettman, speaking of Calgary, Gary Bettman was here this week and he didn't talk about the arena, but he did answer questions about the arena and then just kept saying, like, I'm not here to talk about the arena. You guys just keep asking me. Gary, maybe don't just take questions about the arena if you don't want to talk about it. Maybe don't show up at a press conference for it.
Carl, let's hold up here a second. I'm going to go get the keys. You think of your arguments.
Okay.
Just wait. No, don't talk.
Okay.
And when I come back, then I'm going to give you the keys to the Rant Shack and you jump in. Because it sounds like you're ready to go. Like, we're not even, like, you didn't even let me, like, talk at all in that. You're just, like, you're entering Gary Bettman, who I think it's safe to say that's my specialty on this show. And you just, like, you were just jumping in right away.
Okay. Can I talk now? Okay, go get the keys.
Okay, you know what? Actually, I'm going to give you, how long do you think you can rant?
About Gary Bettman?
Yeah.
Well, I'd say at least 3 minutes, which sounds short.
Okay, I'm getting a timer up, and I'm literally going to go get keys.
Okay.
And I'm in my basement.
Okay. Can you set up that timer so that I can see it?
I'm going to try and do that.
Okay.
And then we're going to see if you can do 3 minutes.
Okay, you go get the keys to the... So I'm going to pre-rant outside the shack while you go get the keys to let me in.
Yeah, sure. And then if you need more time, we'll do that. Okay. I can't even see myself, so I don't know if this is being set up. Let's see if I can
You know what? Here's the thing that I also have a timer.
Can you see this? No, you cannot.
No.
Can you see that? This is great. This is great. Okay.
Great audio. Great
Okay,
podcast.
are you ready?
Ready.
Go.
Okay, so this week, Gary Bettman shows up in Calgary and says, hey, I am not here to take questions. I'm not here to talk about the arena. I'm just here to answer your questions. And then repeatedly got asked question after question about the arena. And it was just the same garbage that you hear from Gary Bettman all the time. But what really frustrated me is the fact that now Gary Bettman is making these claims that the Calgary, it's relevant because we've got the Seattle arena happening, but he's making these claims that the Calgary arena is what's losing this team money and that they're not as financially viable as they used to be. What's not making this team financially viable is the fact that you've got the dollar getting worse. You've got, a team that's not as good as they were a few years ago. You've got, a fringe playoff team's not the city's, runs on the price of oil. You've got people losing their jobs. This has absolutely nothing to do with an arena. But Gary Bettman shows up and tries to say that, yeah, you know what's going to make this team get money? Spending $500 million on a new arena and asking the city for another half. Sure, you have to spend money to make money, but it doesn't take a genius economist to know that spending $500 million or more is going to make this team money. It's idiotic. So yeah, sure. It is very frustrating that Gary Bettman shows up and says this garbage. So who knows? We got Gary Bettman making his rounds. I really look forward to where he will go after. I was up in Edmonton this week and saw the fact that the old Edmonton arena, the Coliseum Rexall place, that place is a dump. And the fact that he continually refers and compares the two, the Saddle Dome, sure, it is the shape of a saddle and you can't actually have a proper concert in there anymore. It's not high tech. Sure, it's 30 years old, but it is a perfectly good functional arena that does not look terrible. So yeah, sure, whatever. If the Flames are losing money because of that, I don't know how that's possible. But Gary Bettman somehow seems to think that that is the reason that the Flames are losing money. All of a sudden, this arena is the big problem here. So Joel's back. I think he found the keys. So let's see what do I still need to keep going? How much is left? Your mic is not on.
42 seconds.
42 seconds. So I've just been telling people how Gary Bettman, old Uncle Gary, keeps thinking that the problem for the Flames' financial woes is the fact that they don't have a new arena, and how dumb that is. So, we'll see. It seems like he's at a stalemate. What I appreciated was the fact that he seemed to almost be running out of steam with it. Like, he was just at a loss. He didn't know what to do. His tactics of trying to bully the city into paying for his arena aren't working. And so he's just like, whatever, the city's not doing anything. Nothing's happening. There's no point talking about it. So I appreciate the fact that Gary is running out of tactics, running out of strategies. So he can, there it is.
It's over.
That's 3 minutes was much. I had about a minute and a half. I think I was much more fired up before you stopped me.
Fair enough. I didn't want to ruin the moment, which apparently I did. So
that's fair. Yeah.
But I wanted you to be in the shack, and then I didn't find the keys. But I also wanted to see how long you could go with.
Yeah.
So, and I was only here for about a minute of it, and I'm content. Do you want to go a little more?
No, I don't. It's just so dumb.
On a scale of, no, I don't want to play that game. Just kidding. Because this is not actually, I don't like Gary Bettman, but I was going to start comparing him to actually real world problems, and I was like, it's actually not that.
This is not relevant.
That's not. I was like, real world problems are actually much worse than this, and so I'm just going to stop talking.
That's fair. Yeah, that's appreciated.
So,
this is when we remember to ourselves and people who take all of this way too seriously that we sit here and we talk about a game that grown men play for an hour every week. So we probably shouldn't take it too seriously.
It's true, but Gary Bettman, I don't know. He's so frustrating.
Yeah. When I saw that Gary was going to be showing up and having a press conference in Calgary, I was like,
Did you try and get Did you get presser access for that?
No, they would not have liked what I had to say. So,
do you think he would have answered any of your questions?
Yeah, there was one reporter, I wasn't sure who it was, and she asked 3 different questions about the arena, and you could just see him getting frustrated every single time that she raised her hand and asked a question. It was great. I don't know who it was, but she's my new favorite reporter in Calgary.
That's too funny. Okay, so like, where are we at? Calgary Arena.
It's the same place we were before. They're not threatening to leave, but they say that like because they're not going to threaten, they'll just up and leave, which is the same thing as a threat. Like if you say like we're not threatening to leave, we'll just be gone and you won't be able to stop us. I think that's a threat.
Right. Probably.
Yeah. I don't know if it was like Joel. I'm gonna take that wonderful headset you're wearing away. And that might just not, that might happen when you least expect it. It's a terrible analogy.
Sorry. That was not my angry face. The Leafs just got scored on and it should have been goaltender interference and they challenged and it wasn't.
See, I'm watching that as well. That wasn't called back.
That is a good goal.
Yeah, goalie interference is worse. That actually, so we put it out there before the show to get some questions. This is relevant because we did get the question, which is worse, NHL officiating or NFL replacement refs?
Replacement refs, not close. But
the fact that you can ask the question, like that's a little bit of something.
I guess. Oh, like, okay, so you're watching this. What did you think on this?
I don't understand. I'm watching Mike Babcock literally laugh at the official. It's so bad.
Like he trips. Like, does he not trip Frederik Andersen?
Yes. The only reason that I could see that this is not called back is the fact that he was outside of the crease when it happened.
But he was half and half. The part where he contacts him was in the crease, to be fair. The rest of him wasn't, but the part that he's actually contacting was. I don't get goaltender interference, Carl.
No one does, Joel.
Especially Mike Babcock. What a guy. I like the Leafs. Like seriously, like they just need to just not play any more games. Like, can we just play 60 games and go to the playoffs?
I don't think that's how that happens.
Like, would you be for a 60-game season?
I'm ready for playoff hockey now. Like, we've played 70. We're just about at 70 games-ish. If we called it at 70, I wouldn't be sad. Like, that's never going to happen because the NHL wouldn't. Uncle Gary is well known for his love of money. There's no chance that he's going to be like, let's just take away a quarter, or not a quarter, but like a sixth of our revenue stream. Let's just do that. It's not happening.
No.
Are we keeping you up?
Maybe.
Well,
I yawned. I didn't realize. I didn't think I was yawning into the mic. This has been a night.
For those who don't know, I was in a mood after a very, very long day at work. Joel got home. We started the show, and then his faucet broke. So Joel's been plumbing. We have had quite the night already. So let's carry on. Do you want to eliminate a team?
Let's just do it. Let's just get this thing done.
Sorry, Joel's got nap time coming up here. Joel, who are you thinking?
Oh, can we cue the music first?
Sure.
Elimination Station.
All right, Joel, what is your desire this week? We've had 2 teams that have been eliminated earlier this week actually sat in playoff spots.
Are they currently in playoff spots?
They are not. One of them, the Florida Panthers.
Really?
The comeback kids.
They're hot.
1 point back with 3 games in hand. It's almost a foregone conclusion that they will at some point be in a playoff spot, whether they stay there or not. Yeah, red hot. I think 13-3 since the All-Star break. Do you, if you could redo this right now, if there was a way, like a Redemption Island Survivor style, you would not save the Florida Panthers?
No. Come on now.
Red hot, Joel. Red hot.
No.
Alexander Barkov. Fantastic.
No. Stay there.
You do not believe that the Florida Panthers will continue this hotness and make it in the playoffs?
No. Is this Elimination Station or is this bring people back? Let's get to this.
Okay.
Unless, are you bringing them back?
Well, no. If I'm bringing anyone back, it is the fact that the team from last week also sat in a playoff spot. The Colorado Avalanche yet to lose since being in Elimination Station.
Have they only played 1 game?
We gave them bulletin board material. No, Joel. They haven't played 1 game.
That's very angry.
They played 4 games.
Oh, wow.
They lost 1 in overtime.
Good for them.
So, yeah, 7 points in 4 games.
My team hasn't won in about 12 games, so that's pretty sweet.
Your team's struggling. To be fair, I don't really put the outdoor... the outdoor game is a weird one.
Yeah, and the whole Austin Matthews things. But anyways, okay.
This isn't Austin Matthews Station. This is the Elimination Station.
Okay, let's just... New Jersey? They're trending downward.
They are. But if we're picking teams that have lost 3+ games in a row, they haven't lost 3+ games in a row, but they haven't done well lately. If there's a bad team right now that we're picking, it's not the Devils.
How many teams do we have left?
All right, here are teams let's do I'll list off wild card and below that are still not eliminated. So New Jersey, Columbus, Carolina, the Islanders, the Stars, the Kings, the Blues, and the Flames.
So there's 8 teams, and we have to eliminate 4 of them.
Yeah. In the next 4 weeks.
I'm leaning Flames, Islanders.
I was leaning Islanders.
Oh, do it.
All right.
Boom. Gone. No more. What do they need to do? Fire Gar Snow. What do they not need to do? Let John Tavares leave. Done.
Well, shall we carry on?
What is going to happen? Gar Snow is going to sign Kyle Okposo to a 12-year deal at $145 million a year.
Giving him that big money. Yeah, that is, in a nutshell, what they need to do. I don't see them firing Gar Snow, though.
Can this be my public service announcement of how John Tavares isn't going to re-sign with the New York Islanders? What team were we talking about?
Yeah, the New York Islanders.
Okay.
That's who they are.
Don't do it, Johnny T. This has been your public service announcement brought to you by the Alberta Podcast Network powered by ATB. They don't want John Tavares going to the Islanders either. They would like a good old Canadian boy come back to Canada. Are we allowed to say that?
I don't see why not. I'm fairly certain everyone knows that ATB has no vested interest in where John Tavares goes. Unless he came to an Alberta team, and that's not happening.
Does the Alberta Podcast Network own an NHL team of sorts?
No.
So we're not tampering.
This is not tampering. No, this is not collusion. This isn't baseball.
Seriously though, where do you want John Tavares to go? If you could choose anywhere in the NHL, not your team.
I want John Tavares to stay in New York with the Islanders.
Why?
Okay, here's why. Because if he goes to Toronto, I have to listen to freaking Leafs fans not shut up about it for the next decade, and that will be miserable.
He's not going to Toronto.
So that's reason number one.
I love how like the reason is why you want him to go to the island is because you don't want him to sign with Toronto, which is like one of the least likely places for him.
No, the Leafs are a non-zero factor. I'm just going through. Look, there's 30 teams that aren't the Islanders. I'm about to give you. So Elliot Friedman's got his 30 thoughts. I'm going to give you 30 thoughts on 30 teams of why they shouldn't sign John Tavares. So buckle up, folks. Here we go.
I got the timer going. You got a minute and a half.
I don't want him to go to Montreal because everyone in Montreal just whines and moans and complains, and they should not get nice things because of that. Just deal with it. I owned the fact that my Avalanche were terrible. Just get over it. You don't get to just sign John Tavares and have that fix everything. I don't want him to go to Tampa because Tampa's already really good, and I don't want there to be like a Golden State Warriors problem going on in the NHL.
He's not going to Tampa.
I'm just going through the entire list.
Can we not go through every team? Can we go through like likely teams?
Okay, here are the teams that I don't want John Tavares to sign to because it'll be OP. I don't want him to go to Washington, Pittsburgh, Tampa, Nashville. Those are the teams that it would be unfair. So that covers them. I don't of the teams that are most likely, like Montreal and Toronto, although you're downplaying it, to me, they're the favorites. I want him to stay in the island because that is a team that he's been the face of. And I enjoy the fact that you've got a great player, one of the best in the league, who can stay with a team and work through things. Just because Garth Snow is terrible, John Tavares will outlive Garth Snow on the island. That should be his stipulation. Is just go full LeBron James on this. Go full Jack Eichel on it. Become general manager and say, look, I'll stay, but you have to fire the idiot who keeps making all these stupid decisions. That's what John Tavares needs to do. And then they fixed everything. They can hire anyone else. Just hire some kid who's really good at NHL 18 who can tells you, or just make a Twitter poll as your GM. Should we do this? Is this a thing we should do? Just anonymously, so that no one knows that you're actually the general manager of the Islanders. If the fan base says you should do it, do it. Would that not be better than Garth Snow?
Probably. That was an impassioned rant about John Tavares staying in New York. I'm surprised by that. I just nowhere. Especially if I can't pick my own team, I don't want him to go anywhere else. I want him to stay in the island to make the Islanders good. I don't as much as it's nice to have. And I'm going to use a terrible example because they're beating your Leafs 5-2. But the Sabres being terrible or the Coyotes being terrible for a decade is not really good for anyone. What if he went to Arizona? That'd be funny.
That would be a terrible idea. And then Austin Matthews could make his return to Arizona in 5 years.
Stop that. Okay.
John Tavares and Austin Matthews could play together in the desert.
So, can I answer where I want him to go?
Sure.
I'm probably not going to be as passionate about it as you were. And I'm not. I will also follow not my team. I'm a little sad you didn't choose my team for me, because then I would have chosen your team for you, but now I'm not going to.
I would love it if John Tavares could be the second line center for the Colorado Avalanche.
Okay. I'm pretty sure, can I go through a list of all the teams on why they would love having John Tavares on their team? Dallas. They would love John Tavares because he would be their best player. Los Angeles, they'd love John Tavares because he would be their best player. Vegas, they'd love John Tavares because he would be their best player.
Only 27 more to go.
No, I think I want him to go to San Jose. Because I think, first of all, it's a great fit. Second of all, they can afford him. Third of all, I want our good friends at the Athletic. I can't talk. That was a weird sentence. Did that sound weird to you?
No.
Okay. It sounded weird to me.
I'm also the guy who can barely get through saying Alberta Podcast Network without messing it up every time. So.
That's fine. Anyway, The Athletic wrote an article not that long ago about how like John Tavares would be a good fit there, and they have the money to do it. And there's talk that like they're going to offer him a contract, which pretty much any team that has like enough space to offer him a contract is going to. Let's be honest, like this just happens. And so then I want to be able, because like I want to be able to like post our show from like 3 months ago where I was like, John Tavares should go to San Jose. That's a great idea. And then I can be like, see, I said it before all of you.
It's a good enough reason, I guess.
So, don't you think he would be a good fit there? I feel like
he'd be a great fit there.
Like I know he's going to be a good fit on any team, but like that's a really good team for him to be on.
Because you literally take. And I know, like, they're different players. They do different things. But you easily transition from the Joe Thornton as your number one center era to the John Tavares as your number one center era. Like, it just happens. You just do it.
The problem is that you're just going to be like, John Tavares is just going from one team where he's the best player and never going to win a Stanley Cup to another team where he's the best player and never going to win a Stanley Cup.
That's true and sad. Yeah.
Although, if he went to San Jose next year, that would be the best team he's ever played on.
It would definitely, like, the best on paper for sure. Yeah. Like, he's arguably never had a goalie play who could play as well as Martin Jones.
He's never had a defenseman as good as Brett Burns. He's probably never had. Is he had a defenseman as good as Marc-Andre Vlasic?
No, he's never had a winger as good as Joe Pavelski or
Evander Kane.
Or he said wingers better than Evander Kane. I guess I'm like, yeah, he has Andrew Ladd. So yeah, he has had
Andrew Ladd is miserable. Can you get over that? I know that you're like, yeah, no big deal. He's really good. I know I turned the alerts off on my phone every time he scored, but because otherwise I'd be getting alerts all the time. Newsflash, I checked. The alerts are still on. He just never scores anymore.
Those alerts are still on, and it has not been set off in many, many weeks.
This is terrible.
Yeah.
You want to know what the Islanders should do? They should go back and not trade Travis Hamonic. They should go back and not give Andrew Ladd all that money. Which
your Leafs scored. I'm slightly ahead of you.
I don't have it on anymore. It was miserable. Things were happening, and I was angry. It's just not a good combination. There's nothing. This team needs to stop trying to make the playoffs too. That's the other thing this team needs to do.
To accept. Well, I think they did that this year. Like the fact that they didn't go out at they traded a 3rd round pick for Brandon Davidson, but he's an RFA, so like that's an asset into next year. They didn't go out at the deadline and pick up guys that are gonna be gone next year, and that was like the knee jerk reaction that I thought the future former GM of the Islanders would do.
Are we sure that was an asset that they traded for?
Well,
let me drop some knowledge on you.
It's not a great asset, but it is an asset.
He played 23 games with the Edmonton Oilers and had a -8 relative Corsi for. That's
in how many games?
23.
Good for him.
-8
on the Oilers. On the Oilers' 3rd pairing. That's pretty bad.
That's probably as bad as you can get.
There might be a reason that the Montreal Canadiens put him on waivers earlier this year. Maybe.
He's really bad.
Yeah. Well, so what do you think? Other than the Tavares re-signing, which has to happen, let's say they don't re-sign John Tavares, you burn it to the ground, rebuild, start from scratch?
Let's say they do sign John Tavares. I think you should burn it to the ground.
And no matter what, just use that as your selling point. Hey, John, next 2 years we're going to be really terrible, maybe we'll fix it.
Okay, who of these players would you like on your team? Andrew Ladd.
At the current cap hit, I would not. With his current contract, I do not want Andrew Ladd.
Anders Lee.
Sure.
Cal Clutterbuck.
Nope.
Casey Ciziquez.
No.
Josh Bailey.
No.
Brock Nelson.
Yes.
Matthew Barzell.
Hard yes.
Shane Prince.
Sure.
Ross Johnston.
I would have to know who Ross Johnston is to be able to answer that question.
Johnny Boychuk. He makes $6 million for the next 5 years.
Yeah, not for $6 million for 39-year-old Johnny Boychuk. No, I do not want
Nick
that.
Leddy.
Yes.
Thomas Hickey.
Yeah.
So and we know the goalies are going to be a hard nose. Brandon Davidson.
It depends. Is it the Brandon Davidson that I claimed off waivers from the Montreal Canadiens, or the one I had to trade a third-round pick for?
Both.
I would take waiver Davidson, sure.
He was really bad for the Oilers. That was waiver Davidson. Okay, basically, there's nobody on this team that you're excited. This is the most riveting part of our show. I listed a bunch of players that you couldn't. There was one that you were definitely yes. Everyone else was just
yeah. And that guy is the Calder Trophy winner.
If I have to, I'll take him. That's that was the best we could get out of you on it. Yeah, sure, that's okay. I'm alright with that.
Excites.
Oh man, this team's bad.
But they have some good defense still.
They have the not good Sebastian Aho.
He's also little Sebastian. He's the smaller of the Sebastians. So is
he good? I don't actually know.
No, he's also the worst.
Okay, I know he's worse, but is he super worse?
Yeah, there are different tiers of players.
Yeah. I don't know.
There you go, Joel. Only 3 more teams left to eliminate before the playoffs.
Are we going to eliminate teams? Are we going to run out of space?
I don't think so.
If we
I think
do,
we calculated it. If we do, we'll just eliminate 2 next week.
I was talking about the other way. Are we going to have is there more time between now and the playoffs than we have weeks?
We'll just eliminate it so only 15 teams make the playoffs. It's fine. The 16th seed never does anything, says the Nashville Predators from last year.
Interesting.
Joel, speaking of playoffs.
Yeah.
We are in the fantasy playoffs for our league.
It's true. This is a true statement.
Fourth Line Podcast League, we are there. 6 teams. Neither of us got a bye. That belongs to Mark and Nate.
Boo.
Mark has been cleaning up this league. It's really his league to lose.
If he loses, sad for him.
Yeah, that's disappointing. Both of our teams did make the playoffs though. There's 6 teams make it, 2 teams get buys in one matchup. Herman from the Modern Manhood podcast and Kristen from How Was Your Week, Honey podcast. A couple of podcast friends of ours. They have shows. They're also in our league. They're playing in one matchup. In the other one, it is Carl's Barbecue Pulled Bork versus Joel and Mike's Martin Jones Diary. We've got a full-on host battle.
Yeah. Our team's going to lose.
No faith?
We have been miserable lately. Carey Price did not stay healthy.
I warned you.
It's fine, but it's one of those things you gotta do. You gotta do
That's
it because if he was healthy, it's
then you play good hockey.
Yeah, I'm sad for Carey Price. Don't be too happy that Carey Price is injured. It's bad.
I'm never happy when someone gets hurt. You know that. So yeah, we are playing. I am currently up 3-1.
So I think we've had one guy play.
You have John Tavares, the aforementioned John Tavares. You have John Goudreau playing, Daniel Sedin, Alex Edler.
But those guys haven't actually played yet.
Jamie Alexiak. I didn't know he was on your team. And then no goalies.
So we're going to lose. I have no faith.
Your goalies are your weakness because you have Henrik Lundqvist, who has struggled, Martin Jones, who's been up and down, and Carey Price, who is just down. But I will not accept this reverse jinx shenanigans you're playing right now.
Okay.
I reject it. I fully reject.
That's fine.
Reverse jinx.
We've lost the last 6 weeks. We've backed in the we have backed into the playoffs. And including a 6-1 loss last week. So I'm not looking forward to this. It's going to be I am not going to place a bet on this because I don't like to just bet on sure losses. That seems ill-advised.
Possibly.
Yeah, that's about it. In the last 6 weeks, I believe the only team that we've beat is the team that finished in last. So
I managed to win 3 of my last 5, and you've lost 4 of your last 5. So
there you go.
We are going other directions here, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll be back next week with an update. I'm sure you'll see one of us being happy on the Twitters about it.
Apparently, from what I've heard, is that whoever loses has to leave the podcast.
There was talk about that in the thread with the folks from the league. Someone they wanted some weight behind this matchup. I don't think that's going to happen though.
No, it'd have to be heavily handicapped.
Yeah, I don't want to do the show without you either. So, Joel, what else has been happening?
I don't know
in the hockey. So we talked about the Elimination Station. There was an article that Ben wrote on the website. It actually went up today, Monday, on tanking and losing. He's a Sabres fan, so he's experienced both the tank and now what some are calling a losing culture. What do you use your thoughts? Because there's the losing culture side and there's tanking. When does one become the other, or is it just it just happens? Is that just
when you're a team that doesn't want to actually when you're a team that doesn't want to get better? Because it's different to get as many assets as possible, but at some point you need to make a move and say we're no longer tanking, we're no longer just building assets. We actually are going to now spend assets to get a piece. The Arizona Coyotes, they just continually do nothing good. And then
even when they do spend they're it's time. We're done this rebuild. It's time to trade 7th overall for Derek Stepan.
Yeah, that was a bad move.
I don't know. I don't know. Is there? I just think there's just.
I think it becomes when a big example, and people said it all the time, was in Edmonton, right? And we poop on the Oilers all the time for being terrible for so long. But when you have the young guys who come into the league and don't experience success, they don't learn how to win, right? Some would argue that Matt Duchene, who left the Avalanche to go make a playoff run and then went and dropped an egg in Ottawa, is one who has that same problem. And you have these guys who only lose, and I think that there is an issue of building a team without anyone who knows how to win and knows what it takes to be good. If you have a team with incredibly talented people, there's a big difference between playing in college hockey, playing CHL hockey. Even if you're the best of the best at that time, there's only a few players who are so generational that you can just step in and do that, right? So for me, you do need some guys who know what it takes, can teach the differences between that. When you have a team full of young guys who don't know how to do, it starts to get difficult. They've never experienced difficulties before. Like the amount of these guys, Taylor Hall, when he was playing with the Windsor Spitfires, he won everything. And then all of a sudden he ends up in Edmonton and he loses for years. That's a problem. That's a difficult situation.
I mean, I was gonna say losing culture ends when you win the special lottery, which pretty much is what happens. Like when you look at Washington, Alex Ovechkin. I said that.
That is officially how you say his name. Don't worry.
Him, Crosby, Laine, Matthews, McDavid. Like you look at these teams, Stamkos. Those teams turned around when they got, not that they won the lottery, but that they won it the right year
with the right player. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it also takes, and this is part of what Ben was saying in his piece, is it also takes management around it. The Edmonton Oilers won that lottery, got that special player, and now they have Milan Lucic on their team, paying him a bunch of money. They have not Taylor Hall, who's scored in 25 straight games. They don't have Jordan Eberle. Part of it isn't a winning culture or a losing culture. It's the team that you build. And so for me, it is a big part of it is the fact of who is on the roster and who is, who's building it, right? You can't, it's not just a culture thing. It's also don't be stupid.
Yeah. Yeah.
Joel, before we get into our Pavel Bure's, let's remind everyone or let everyone know about the fine folks over at the Alberta Podcast Network. And we've mentioned them multiple times throughout the show. Joel has condone that they want John Tavares. And so we're going to remind you again, let you know about some of the events that they have coming up. There was an event on how to start a podcast. They have an event coming up. It is in Edmonton at YEG Live. You can head over there or albertapodcastnetwork.com/events. And it is a night of music and just podcasting knowledge. So it's like a trivia night mixed with music. It's going to be a ton of fun. Head over to albertapodcastnetwork.com/events. Well, so one last thing for us to do today is to pick our Pavel Bure must-watch games of the week and crown a high-sticking champion.
Oh, do we?
Ken Kellenbach. Yeah.
I was like, we have a winner.
We have a winner. Ken has won. He is, he claimed, and this might be a reverse jinx of his own, he claimed that he is a repeated person who chokes, which he always does well. He finally closed this time. High sticking is for closers.
Well done, Ken.
Closed.
All right. So how it works, we pick Pavel Bure's of the week, which is a must-watch games of the night. Then you choose a game-winning goal from either side. If you
get points.
You get points. We do it on Twitter. You can email in for the week if you want. If you're going to email in, do it all at once. Don't do it every day.
Yeah. You can email it, mail@thefourthlinepodcast.com. You can Twitter at us at Fourth Line Podcast over on the Twitters.
All right. So, Carl, Tuesday night, Vegas, Columbus, Washington, Anaheim.
The one I had, let's go Vegas, Columbus. The one I also had highlighted, there's a lot of good matchups happening of future playoff teams. Nashville, Dallas as well happening that night.
What about Tampa, Florida, your red hot Panthers?
You know what? It's a great call. We're not Vegas, Columbus. We're going Florida versus Florida.
Okay. Wednesday, Pittsburgh, Philly. Only option.
Yeah, so are we only going to pick games that happen between inter-province or state teams?
No.
Okay.
I just don't want to watch any of the other games. You want to watch Calgary, Buffalo?
Nope. That is helpful because there are none happening. None of those said games happening on the next night.
There was one that caught my eye, though.
Oh, tell me more.
Winnipeg, Jersey.
Okay.
That's a night for Jersey. Show me you're a playoff team.
It's true.
Win that game at home.
yeah, if you can't win that game at home, then things are. Oh, Winnipeg's a good team. Don't get me wrong. I'm going Anaheim Dallas on Friday night.
Okay.
That's a team looking to get into the playoffs and a team in the playoffs.
Tons of afternoon games on Saturday, or do you want to go like opposite ends of the country? Washington, San Jose, Jersey, Nashville.
Let's give the Washington San Jose game some love. Yeah, okay. There's only 4 games at night Saturday.
Yeah.
So that's a 2:00 Mountain Time start. So what's that? 4 Eastern Time?
Yeah. Yep, you're correct.
And Sunday, Dallas, Pittsburgh. I guess is
that second Dallas? No. It is
double Dallas. That saves us from watching Islanders Calgary, Vancouver, Arizona. There was some issue this week with the fact that Vancouver doesn't get picked in the Pavel Bures very much. They're
terrible.
And the reason is that they're very awful.
I don't like Vancouver. Was this a Vancouver fan?
No, it was someone from the area. Like, you don't pick them. And I was like, well, that's because they're bad.
I don't like watching Vancouver. Not only are they a bad team, they're just not even fun to watch.
Yeah.
Like Brock Bowser. Who is that guy? He hasn't scored in 3 months.
Sure. How do you feel? Do we want to go? I know it's a double week for both of them, but I believe that the Winnipeg-Washington game on Monday night is going to be a good one.
Okay. Pick it.
So we're going to have that on Monday night. There you go. We're going to do probably 2 weeks. So 2 short rounds of high stick to end off this.
Wow, you're being generous. I was like, we're going to go to I was literally just about to be like, let's go to the end of the playoffs. And then, because aren't we going to do like a round, like we're going to do high sticking every round?
That's what we did last year.
So what's easier is 2 short rounds. Is it easier to win a short week or is it easier to win a long stretch?
Long is easier.
Let's do a long one then. Let's make it like let's let as many people in. No.
Joel, what I want to do a short one. That way people like no one wants to be losing for an entire month. We can keep it fresh so that you can be in there. If you have a bad one, it's over in a few weeks anyways.
All right, I'm in. I'm in with that.
All right, that's good. I'm glad that one of my impassioned pleas worked.
You did. Your Bettman plea. That warmed my heart.
You're welcome. Well, Joel, you can find us on Twitter at Fourth Line Podcast, thefourthlinepodcast.com, where we've got lots of great content from ourselves as well as some of our writers like Ben and Mike and Joe, just to name a few. You can head over to our facebook.com/thefourthlinepodcast. Obviously, we are a proud member of the Alberta Podcast Network. We're also part of Grandstand Sports and Nuts and Bolts Sports. So thanks to everyone who is a part of helping this podcast happen. And we will be back next week.
Boom City.